show up as soon as the polls open on October 21st. There's a polling location right here, and I know I'm going to see all of you, all of your vecinos, all of your primos and tias and abuelos coming with you, because together is how we're going to win. So thank you for being here today. Today is a reminder of the strength, the love, the energy that we have for our home here in South Texas. I am so proud to be representing Texas 15 as the only Latina and the youngest candidate who is running in a competitive congressional seat across the country that will not only change the face of leadership for South Texas, not just change the future for our state of Texas, but change the future and the course of our entire country. People are going to get to know South Texas, and they're going to remember who we are for the good things that we bring to make this country great. Our teachers, our educators are amazing, and they've had a target on their back, quite literally, in the state of Texas. Ya basta con eso.
Sí se
We're going
puede.
to defend our senior citizens who have worked every single day to pay into Social Security. It is a shame that Republicans like MAGA Monica de la Cruz want to privatize and gamble that away. That is not acceptable, and we're not going to stand up for it.
No, we're not.
And something that is so personal to me and so personal to all of us in this room is access to affordable, quality health care right here in South Texas. And making sure that women are treated with dignity and respect so that they can make their own healthcare decisions no matter what. It is wrong when Monica de la Cruz wants to tell you what to do with your body, with your family, with your future, and is willing to put your life on the line for her political gains. That is not acceptable. That is not what we stand for in South Texas, and that's why we're going to show up to vote and vote her out this November. To share with everybody I come across that I'm a proud daughter of Mexican immigrants. I'm a proud small business owner that grew up working at the Bulla with my family. I'm a proud public educated student and product of our public schools, and that's what we represent. Hard work, integrity, the love for our community, the love for our home, and I am so grateful that you are all here with me, right beside me. I have not once felt alone in this fight for South Texas. It is a hard thing to do, to put your name out there, to travel all the way up and down the district, to get to know people, to understand the challenges that we are all experiencing, but I know that I'm doing this with each and every one of you. Walking into this room, I almost felt overwhelmed with emotion because of how beautiful it is when we come together like this. And my heart truly goes out to every single person who's put in time already, who's volunteered their time by phone calling, by texting, by writing note cards and postcards and letters, by block walking, by having direct interaction with other voters to remind them how important it is for them to vote. I'm reminded every single day on this campaign trail that when Democrats don't come out to vote, they elect Republicans. And we're not going to let that happen. We're going to show up, we're going to bring everybody with us, and we're going to tell them why we're voting. We're voting because we care about our futures, we care about our lives, we care about our families, and we care about South Texas. And they're not going to take advantage of us anymore. Make sure that you are registered to vote, even if you voted in the primary. Right now there are voter intimidation tactics coming from the highest levels in our state leadership. I don't even want to say it's leadership because it's a lack of leadership, and it's because they're scared, because they're absolutely terrified of us, of rooms like this, of getting them out of office and getting the leaders that we need and deserve. I believe it's just 27 days away, less than a month. We're going to show up to the polls and we're going to make our vote count. And we're going to vote Democrats up and down the ballot. y que merecemos mucho mejor. We're gonna get rid of MAGA Mónica de la Cruz y para fuera con su primo Ted Cruz while we're at it. Thank you, everybody. Vamos por 15.
Thank you. Round of applause for our next Congresswoman, Michelle Vallejo. Y'all, the next, our keynote speaker needs no introduction. He is somebody that is just an amazing person, a true fighter, a true Texan, a true public servant, somebody that always prioritized South Texas. Someone that has no problem sitting down and talking to you and genuinely listening to your needs. Someone that has always been there for us. And Beto has done so much more in recent years. He's created Powered by People, registering Texans to vote, fighting for voter rights, making sure that we still have election integrity. But I don't want to tell you about that. I'd rather let him tell you himself. Give a warm South Texas welcome to Beto.
Hey. Good to see you all. Big thanks. Thank you. Listen, to our chairman and to Selena, every time I would post a picture on Instagram, we're doing this Ready to Vote tour all over the state, primarily at colleges in Dallas, in Denton, in Austin, in San Antonio, and Houston. Every time I would post a picture, I would get a text message from Selena saying, when are you going to come down to the Valley? And she sees these big crowds in all these different places, and I said, well, we're going to try to get down when we can get down. We gave her 3 days notice. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the biggest crowd we've had in any city, in any part of this state. Bar none, the 956 is showing up once again. You are the best. And as I'm listening to our next Congresswoman, and I'm looking just past her at this scene right here, it is just staggeringly beautiful. Every time I come back down to the Valley, I'm reminded of how lucky we are as Texans that this is part of our state. I'm also reminded at how few people know how special the Rio Grande Valley is. One of the first people who made the case to me when I was a baby member of Congress was Congressman Hinojosa, who I think is here tonight. I want to recognize him for the work that he's done for this community, for our state, and for the Valley. Work that he's done that our next Congresswoman, Michelle Vallejo, is going to build on. Imagine having somebody who can tell South Texas story, who can pull down the resources to build a full-service veterans hospital for every man and woman who's put their life on the line for this country here in this community. Someone who's going to make sure that we have the major interstate system here in South Texas that the rest of the state takes for granted, and the jobs, economic growth, the attention, and the constituent services that you all deserve, that you're not getting right now from the MAGA Republican who says that she represents us right now. That is the opportunity before us in this election. And I tell my fellow Texans in other parts of the state, you sleep on the 956 at your own peril. When we were running for Senate back in 2017 and 2018, when I first came down here at the invitation of my friend Don Medina, who's standing right here. And Don, I don't know if we had 5 people, 10 people, 15 people who came out that first time, but it was absolutely wonderful. And maybe the second time I come, there's this guy named Chano Garza.
Right here.
Who's heckling me in the beginning. We were on the same side. But finally we won each other over, and now we are good friends.
We love you, Beto.
I'm chairing the Chano Garza fan club in El Paso, and he's got the one here in McAllen, Texas. This community, this part of the state, is just so incredibly special to me and so important to us. And let me tell you, when we were running that Senate race in 17 and 18, that so many of you were a part of, the conventional wisdom, the really smart political people said, hey Beto, I know you want to go down to the Valley. I know you feel connected because these are fronterizos just like you are in El Paso, Texas, but the Valley does not vote. Maybe they cheer, maybe they align with you on the values, but they're not going to show up. They said the same thing about going to college campuses and listening and talking to and working for young people. Hey, it's wonderful that they're excited and they're passionate, they care about the things that you care about, but they're not going to vote. And what I said is, look, I probably would not vote either if no one bothered to show up for me. Listen to what was on my mind, hear my dreams and aspirations, the challenges in front of me, and work with me to make sure that we can realize those dreams and overcome those obstacles. So I'm showing up in the Valley, and you all could not get rid of me in 2017 and 2018. We showed up so much. San Benito and Bar and Roma, even Rio Grande City, McAllen, Brownsville, Mission, Hidalgo, Helgen, Bar, everywhere we went. You all showed up for us, and you know what happened at the end of the day. The largest voter turnout in the midterm in Texas history. 12 insurgent Democrats defeated 12 entrenched incumbent Republicans for the state house. We picked up congressional seats. We had no business winning, like this guy you may or may not have heard of, Colin Allred, who won his race in North Texas against Pete Sessions. 17 black women won elections to judicial positions in Harris County alone. Talk about these big judicial races. And we knew the future was within our grasp. But so did the Republicans, the governor, the lieutenant governor, the attorney general, the majority of the state legislature. And when we had that strong showing, we came so close in 2018, they began to change the election laws to make it harder every single time they met in session for us to cast our ballots and for us to have our voices heard. And I'll tell you, it culminated in 2022 after hundreds of polling place closures, one ballot drop-off location per county in the midst of the deadliest pandemic of our lifetimes, voter ID laws that allow you to bring your license to carry a firearm to prove who you are, but they will not accept your student ID at UTRGV to do the same. In the midst of that, and remember what was on the ballot in 2022. It wasn't just Beto and Abbott, it was the following. The most obscene abortion ban in America, the 16 months following its passage and signing into law by the governor. Check this out, you will not believe it, it is gonna fuck you up when I tell you this, but pay attention and share it to your friends and family. In the 16 months after that Texas abortion ban was signed into law by Greg Abbott, made possible by Donald Trump, 26,000 women and girls in the state of Texas were forced to carry the child of their rapist to term. This has become the epicenter of a maternal mortality crisis because not only can you no longer receive a safe, legal abortion in the state of Texas, but when they close down those reproductive health care clinics, try to get a cervical cancer screening, try to get any pregnancy planning or help, try to see a doctor at all if you're a woman in the least insured state in America. And ladies and gentlemen, we are losing the women and girls in this state at a frightening rate. That was on the ballot. On the ballot was 19 beautiful kids and their 2 teachers slaughtered in their classroom in Robb Elementary, Uvalde, Texas in May of 22. And nothing has changed in this state to make it any less likely that any other child meet the same fate. A fate so horrible and hideous that their parents can only identify their bodies by the shoes that they were wearing because they were so badly disfigured. Uvalde and the fact that Texas leads the nation in school shootings, that was on the ballot too. And then these geniuses in charge of the energy capital of the world, literally. In 2021, when the weather started to get cold, they couldn't keep the power going, the heat running, the water flowing because it froze in our pipes, and 700 Texans lost their lives due to the corruption and incompetence of those in power. That was on the ballot too. And yet despite all of that, millions of registered Texans did not cast a ballot in that election. Now, it is not because they're lazy. It is not as though they lack this love for our democracy that all of us are so proud of. It's not because they don't care about those issues that I just told you about. It's because this state has disenfranchised them, literally drawn them out of the right and the ability to vote. The question for you, the question for me, Because it is this community more than any other that is targeted by that suppression and intimidation is just what we are going to do about it. Remember those who came before us, those brave men and women who literally wearing the uniform of the United States of America gave their lives to fight fascism overseas on the beaches of Normandy in 1944 to protect democracy here at home. Think about those civil rights and voting rights activists who willingly gave their lives in the 1940s and 50s and 60s to produce the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act of 1965. You and I, together, we have inherited their sacrifice, their service, their struggle, and 248 years into this experiment, what we do with this inheritance, whether we squander it, whether we make it better for the generations to come, that will define us in the eyes of our kids, of our grandkids, the pages of history, and it will determine what is possible in Texas. So no pressure, folks, but we cannot fuck this one up. We have got to get out there and register, we got to vote, and we have to win. Tomorrow at 9 a.m., if you care about this, and you realize that voting and registering, while that